Hi, my name is Esther Mwebe, and thank you for sticking around, really. It's been a while since I did this. It's been a couple months. At the time I was putting out the first episode, the first video that I did, I was like, I'm going to do this. It was a challenge for me, but as per usual, sometimes you fall, especially if it's a challenge. You fall, and then you decide, I'm not going to continue, so it's already failed. But here I am to start again, to new beginnings. But how are you? How is everything going on your end? I am well. I've been well. Well, yeah, I am well. Just had my birthday was last week. Had an amazing time. Amazing time, including eating cake with the fam. You know. But let's get right into what I want to discuss today, or what I want to talk about today. A couple of years back, in 2017, 2018, I stumbled upon podcasting as a concept, as an idea, as a thing to do. But it was not up until 2020, during the lockdown, that I started really and truly podcasting as of myself. Now, there's always an idea and the execution, and that distance really, I think, it's what matters. But when I stumbled upon podcasting, I stumbled upon it in a movie, in a series. I can't remember the name, but my friend as well that were living in the same hostel, it was like, I saw this app on their phone and I was like, what's this about? She said it's about podcasting, and I was immediately drawn to that. And then later I came to see it on TV show and I knew this is something that I wanted to pursue. But it was a new concept, especially in Kenya, where I am, right? But fast forward 2 years later is when I began. Remember, I knew podcasting. I went and did my research on podcasting, and I even had a name. But it was not until 2 years, 2020, I think it was March 2020, in the middle of the night, that I decided to start podcasting. When you go do your research about something that intrigues you, you find all of these things that people have put out. In essence, for example, for podcasting, it was always you needed to have a Yeti microphone. These are the big microphones that you see podcasters use. You need to have a camera. You needed to have all of these things that are necessary for you to have a podcast. But even as you go through the research, you realize there are other tools small tools that you can use to begin your journey. And this is what I'm here to speak about. Starting with what you have. In 2 years, I did my research. But when I started, I did not have all of these things that people were the requirements of having a good podcast, right? I started with what I had. Because you realize people, when you're researching, there are people that give you things that you have at your disposal that will help you begin. For example, for me, it was to just have a phone which has a recorder, and then uh, earphones, the string ones, you know. And that was it to begin. And then if you wanted to edit your podcast, you would use, at the time we were using, um, which has now changed to Spotify for creators. We were using Anchor, the Anchor app, which was used to edit and then you post, and then it would send to all of these other platforms for podcasting. So when I started, because I had this knowledge, I did that. The first episode I ever put out, the podcast was called On the Many Podcast. That's the name that I had come up with. I recorded in the middle of the night, and I didn't edit it. I just put out, you know. And I remember, I think the first comments were, "Oh, we can hear you breathing a lot." I was like, "Oh my God, do I take it back or what happens?" But I was like, let me keep it there. And up until the last episode I did on the main podcast, I reckon I did some of the best amazing work that I've ever done up until today. Because ideas just bounced off. I went off with the things that I had, which was my phone, the phone recorder, you know, my earphones. And I remember the time my phone didn't record calls, so I couldn't do recorded um, interviews. I mean, phone call interviews. I could, but I had to download an app for that. And I went and did that. And my phone did that. What I'm saying is, there's beauty in starting with what you have. Do not wait for you to have everything that you think you need for you to start. Because even when you have it, sometimes then it will not feel the same. But when you start with what you have, you want to start reading, and you have storybooks for grade something. Start with that. Do not wait to start with the big books that are being recommended everywhere. No, start with that. I will speak on podcasting because it's what I do. If you want to create content, start with what you have. Do not wait to say, I need to have that ring light, I need to have that microphone, I need to have all of these things. If you're waiting to have all the things for you to start, then I don't think you're ready to do what it is that you think you want to do. Doubling back to the time I started podcasting, I started with the little that I had, the things that were at my disposal. And that really worked out. Like I said, I put out the best of episodes that I've ever done to date. I did up until I think the 49th episode, and then I said I'm going to take a break and rearrange myself because at the time now podcasting was rising. Everybody had these equipments. But when I took a break, trust and believe me when I say I took a break for the next 2 years. I took a break for the next 2 years because I took a break to go find all of these things that I wanted. Even as I'm doing this video, the truth is I do not have those things that I was looking for. The equipment that today make you a podcaster or a content creator, you know, ring lights, microphone, what else is needed, all of these things. I don't even have a beautiful setting, you know, but looking back, I realized that I did what I could with what I had, and that created something very, very, very beautiful. Like I said, from the first episode, I didn't edit the first episode, trust and believe me. But I didn't edit the first episode, I didn't edit the second episode. I think I started editing or trying to in the sixth, 10th episode. But I will tell you this, in every episode, it got better. The first one I was breathing so hard because I remember it was in the middle of the night and I just decided to do it. But by the time I got to episode 49, I was a pro at this thing called podcasting. I was, I knew what I was doing. I knew what I needed, you know, and it was such a beautiful thing. But in summary, what happened was I used the resources at my disposal. I did not wait to have all of these things that they say you must have for you to have a podcast, right? And I succeeded. I am now slowly getting back to podcasting and YouTube, as you can see. And truth is, I don't have those things anymore. The only thing that has changed between now and then is now I have, well, I've grown, number one. Number two, I recently bought a microphone, a lapel, and that's the only thing that has changed. There's nothing that new that I'm using that I did not use back then. And when I took a break, the thing was, I'm going to look for all of these things that people say you need for you to have a quality sound, crisp sound. But I think if you have the idea and you have the confidence and you have your phone and you have your recorder, then just begin. It's as simple as that. Just start. Start. And I think there's beauty in the progress. You know, when you have limited resources, then that means your research will be so good in the sense of you want to know how do I edit, what app do I use on my phone. But all in all, do not wait for you to have everything. Don't wait for you to have the perfect equipment, the perfect books. If you want to be a reader, just start with what you have. Start today, start now, start, just start, and use what you have at your disposal. I wish you all the best. I wish myself all the best as well as I begin again. I'll see you on the other side. Bye.